Hello. Hello.
I think we're
Welcome.
live. All the technical difficulties today. I don't know.
So we're having Matt. Thank you for those of you that are joining in live. Right about now, we are a little bit late, but we are dealing with the technical difficulties that come to us. We had a caller, a guest. Where's our guest?
So today we are going to be talking about navigating unhealthy relationships, finding healing and empowerment. And as
Yes.
always, if you want to chime into the conversation, I'm going to drop that in the comments. And we would love to hear from you. If I can drop it in the comments. So there we go. All right. So with that being said, we have Lisa here with us to chat with us a little bit about dealing with unhealthy relationships. How are you, Lisa?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate it and feel honored.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, Lisa. We appreciate you.
From a distance. Anything
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, y'all. I'm still trying to post this in here. All the technical difficulties today, I promise you. I
Hey,
know how to use a computer. I do.
when life gives us lemons, let's make some lemonade, huh?
All right. Thank you. So we are there. We are live on YouTube, YouTube only. Sorry, folks. The post to chime in is available in the comments. We would love to have people come in and just talk with us. So the question that I want to start off with today is, what are some red flags or warning signs that you believe indicate an unhealthy relationship?
I think that's towards you, Lisa.
is this in
It's
the
just in
20s or are we
general.
talking about in our current state?
All of the above. Can we talk about all of
So there were flags that I did not pay attention to that I would have
it?
hold bar, flag on the play, 15 yards, red card in a soccer game type situation. And those are the things of stability and safety. You don't understand how the importance of feeling safe in a relationship
Yeah.
is until you are in a situation where it is not safe.
Right.
So, and you can find those things. It just depends in regards to somebody's vice. For instance, my unsafe situation was a result of a vice, and if they had too much of that vice, the person you fell with was a whole different person.
Right.
And as a result, it became an unsafe environment. So moving forward, if I don't feel safe, and it is as simple as getting in the car, you opening my door, closing the door, making sure my seatbelt is on. Something as simple as that ensures that I'm safe when I go out in the vehicle with you.
Right.
I'm safe. I have nothing to worry about. You know how the guys used to do back in the day? They put their hand on the lower of the back and they push you towards the inside crossing, and you're on the inside of the sidewalk as opposed to the cars. Those simple tells
Right.
allows for one to feel safe.
Right.
So that is a flag that if I don't see those things being done, I'm not interested.
Right. I definitely understand that. I think one of the things that you talked about before in terms of vices, and that this really plays a lot on feeling safe, because like you said, the person that you once knew, when they are under the influence of whatever, they're not that same person. And with that comes a whole list usually of red flags along with, this vice. Because with that comes like a lack of respect. A lot of times when you're under the influence, you do and say things that maybe aren't as respectful as they would have been on the day to day, or emotional issues that come up. I know, speaking of vices, I was in a relationship many moons ago, and the person that I was in a relationship with was an alcoholic, but I didn't know that at the time because when I 1st met them, they seemed like they were stable.
Yeah.
But they were literally a functioning alcoholic. They would go to work and do all this stuff and then go home and get crazy, belligerently drunk. But when I was around, they didn't do that. So I was just like, okay, cool. It wasn't until a year into our relationship that I saw the full the
Spectrum.
full, yes. And at that time, I had already moved and I was in a whole nother country at that time. But this person would call me at crazy hours and be like, I'm in jail. I'm sorry, how did you get to jail? What is happening here?
Right.
Like,
Right.
you're active duty. Why are you in jail right now? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know why you're in jail? And why are you calling me with your only phone call? I'm in a whole other country. Why are you calling me?
I
But
learned the
this,
lesson of that is that we are their safety.
yes, very much so. But I'm like, yeah. I'm glad that I make you feel safe, but I can't make you get out of jail. So
Yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah.
yeah,
The vice that they had was also drinking, and as a result, when I tell you this was like a 10 gold medalist, like could drink 25 ounce cans, get up and go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning,
perfectly
come
fine.
home and do it again. Like it was a relay. And sobriety was so far off the spectrum that, oh, I don't have a problem. I think you do. And then it's very costly. I don't, not only does it not give you physical safety, it does not
Right,
give you stability in regards to finances because it becomes a problem where you
right,
have to maintain it. Once you started it, it's just so hard. So, um, what I know now and what I will allow are totally different from when I was in my 20s as opposed to be dating in my 40s. So, um,
right.
feeling safe, stability, and then confidence in oneself is a key. You don't have that confidence, that means you're not secure in who you are as an individual, and you really can't love another if you don't love yourself. So
Right,
those are the three things that I look for now. Back in
right,
the day, I had a huge checklist. You had to be a certain height, you had to be a certain weight, color, smell. I had the whole thing, and I got that. And you don't think about the other things. Like it was a man child. I basically had a, a goodest looking man child, which was God saying you can ask for everything you want, but don't forget that fine print. Just like
right,
contracts and warranties and things of that sort. If you don't read
right,
the fine print, be careful what you ask for.
right. And that's a big one. I think a lot of times you said it, we have these grocery list of things that we look for in partners,
Mm-hmm.
but majority of those things don't include like character stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's like the physical.
That's a
And
correct.
then you get
100%.
this wonderful package and it's like rotten on the inside. And you're like, how did I get
Yeah, absolutely.
here?
Like,
Well,
did
this is what
the
you asked for.
evil queen give me an apple I didn't know about? I didn't
Right.
sign up for this. You know what I mean?
Right. But that's really what it comes down to. And, some of another one of the red flags that you kind of brought up in terms of trust. Like
Oh,
confidence
man.
comes with this sense of trust. I'm confident in myself because I have a sense of trust within myself,
Mm-hmm.
within my abilities. But that same thing extends to my partner. If I can't trust my partner, that's just there's no foundation. You can't build on that at all. I was in a relationship dynamic where the person came into the relationship, they had a general lack of trust for people in general.
Really?
So they came into the relationship with a little more trust in me, but for me, there is no like you either trust somebody or you don't. I always hear people say like, "Yeah, I kind of trust them." No, that
Mm,
just means you don't trust them. You either
exactly.
trust
You know
somebody or
what?
you
Exactly.
don't.
Yeah. I've noticed that I live in South Carolina. I'm currently here. I reside in Anderson, and I've noticed that women will tolerate a little bit more out here as opposed to a big city.
Yeah.
And with that being said, it's oh, I go through his phone and I see females texting and stuff like that, but it's just a text message, and
Yeah.
and I personally feel um, that's cheating in my sense. If you are mentally connecting with an individual, you've learned their schedule, you've learned when they go on break, you know what they do, what time they're in bed. Those
Mm.
things, in my personal opinion, is cheating. That is a deal breaker for me. With all reality, there is absolutely no exception. I'm very straightforward when I tell anybody that I'm interested in these. This is a deal breaker. I'm a Virgo. I'm selfish, and I don't like to share. And with that being said, cheating, if it's physical, if it's, you
Emotional.
know, third base as opposed to home run type situation, I provide the proper expectation. And that is another thing that is required.
Right.
Expectations have to be grounded at the original foundation. Should it not be done just like a house? If the foundation is not set, you get cracks. You end up getting a broken house later on. So that's another one requirement. Expectations.
Okay. Mike, you look like you were gonna say something.
Nah, she got to it because I was gonna say like, did in the past you communicate that effectively to a person to understand? Because everybody formality of cheating is completely different. For you, accepting a text message from somebody else is a form of cheating of the opposite sex. I totally get it, but do they know that's a thing for you? That's that, and so you said you communicate that going moving forward, and it's up to them to decide if they want to basically mess with you and be in any type of relationship with you, knowing that's a part of your wants and your expectations in regards to that. Now, about the women, that's just like, oh, it doesn't affect them. To each his own, because at the end of the day, what I can honestly say is that um, when it comes to like a formality of like who is present and who is not present, who is here and who is not here, who has more control and who has no control.
Mm-hmm.
In the essence of the side, what we're gonna call that side piece behavior. They're the side piece behavior for a reason. They're not in the queen's place. They're not given a queen's title nor a queen's position. Side piece will always be there. They will never take over or replace said queen.
But I think
Now,
one will only is allowed. What was allowed?
huh?
One will only do what one allows the other to do. So if you have side
Hey, 100%.
mentality, and that's the role you want to play, by all means, I completely understand that. But sometimes I think what I'm running into. So my last real relationship was almost 9 years ago when I had my son. And that was in fact with his sperm donor. With that being said, I have not been in an actual real relationship. I've touched base with Mike in regards to a situationship, but it was not a relationship. But understanding your role and having that understanding expectation is something I didn't think about in my 20s, but it's now required that if we're not on the same page, sometimes you just have to walk away.